So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about my cooking system, what I use, why I use it, how it works, that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd make a little video about some of that, maybe answer some of those questions, maybe help folks get started. It's pretty light, pretty simple, so maybe you'll find something in here that works for you. First, let me just mention that I use denatured alcohol as a fuel. Obviously this kind of looks like water, but this is denatured alcohol. It's clean burning, cheap, and is not corrosive. You can put it in this plastic bottle, it's not going to be a problem. Of course, this could be confused with water, that would be really bad, so I use a red top here, and it also functions as a pour spout. But this, it can leak a little bit, so put a little plumber's Teflon tape here to help make a good seal. So this is right now. This is enough fuel for probably about a week. So this container is much larger than I need, but it weighs the same as a smaller container that's out of hard plastic or metal. So that's the fuel. I guess now we should get to the stove. The stove is what's called a penny alcohol stove, and it burns denatured alcohol, as I mentioned. It's just constructed out of a couple beer cans or soda cans. I made them out of all sorts of cans, Red Bull, all different sizes. It's pretty easy to make, and I'll provide a link to the instructions right here. Okay, so check it out. There are all sorts of designs, but this one seems pretty easy to make, pretty reliable, pretty efficient with the fuel. I made a lot of these for people who have never used alcohol stoves before, and they enjoy that. It works pretty well for them. This is just a cap I use to keep the penny from floating around in my pack. I can also use it to insulate the bottom of the stove. So you fill it, push the penny aside, let the fuel drain into the center, push it back, and light the excess fuel, and that'll prime the whole stove. Once you start heating it, the alcohol starts vaporizing, coming out of these jets. The penny acts as a pressure regulator. It'll burp if the pressure inside builds up too much, so you don't wreck your stove or create leaks around the side or something like that. The thing is, these don't really have, you can't turn down the flame. It's either on or off. There's this simmer ring here, which is just a piece of metal, and one of my handles actually eventually kicked the bucket the other day. But while this is burning, say you brought your water to a boil, you can put this on here, and that's going to cut the oxygen to the flame and reduce the vaporizing of the fuel in there, and it'll burn slower, maybe burn longer. Obviously, you can't just sort of put it on like I did. You gotta be careful and sort of toss it on. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I use it about half the time, not even all the time. So that's the stove. The other problem with this is it doesn't have a pot stand. So I'll show you my pot stand. It's this piece of metal cut out of the bottom of turkey baster pans. It's a little bit thicker than aluminum foil, but it's still aluminum. So if someone has a good source for aluminum this thick that people can get easily besides the turkey baster pans or turkey roasting pans, I'd love to hear about it. Send it in. So the way this works is it's got a notch in there for the handle of the pot and two holes on the side for the tent stake. So this is an extra tent stake, or if you really want to be super light, that's one of your tent stakes you're already going to use. And your pot goes right in there. So it rests on the steak and it rests on the handle spot. It's pretty nice actually. I hadn't realized how convenient it would be to have everything in one thing. So I can just put it right on the pot or take it off, light it. There's no separate pot stand and windscreen. Also, because it's so tall, it channels the heat right by the side of the pot, and it seems to be more efficient. The downside is that it doesn't fit in your pot because it's so tall. So you have to put it somewhere else. You can roll it up in a bedroll like a thermarest or foam pad or whatever, or I just fold it and put it in a side pocket, or maybe tuck it down in between the folds of my pad. So the pot I use is just a small 0.8 liter one. It was on sale when I got it. Titanium. I like that it has rounded edges on the bottom. Not this big thing, but just the subtle round edge makes it a whole lot easier to clean. Also, the top, the lid, will stay put, which is convenient for straining off water. You can let a little water out. So if I'm say I'm cooking pasta, then I can put a little water in this cup and save that for rehydrating sauce. I want to make sure that I don't make my sauce too watery or something. So I often bring a little measuring cup because it gives me an extra bowl and an option to store water while cooking. And when you're cooking just out of one pot, it can be problematic otherwise. You have to really get everything right. So I don't like that headache, so I just bring an extra little container usually. I'll eat right out of the pot most of the time. Well, as I mentioned, if you don't cook everything in one burn, sort of on and then it goes out, you can either relight it, put some more fuel in, but that's usually more than you need. So I often either just put it in my hat or wrap it up in a warm jacket or something and just let it sort of finish cooking. Or I made this recently out of some bubble wrap covered in Mylar insulation. I got it at a hardware store. If I can find it in a hardware store near me, you can probably find one near you. And it just has a slot on the side for the handle so I can still grip it. And I've got a little insulation for the top. And it'll just keep my food warm or let it finish cooking. So both of those are benefits. It doesn't weigh very much. And I've been trying it out. It seems to work pretty nicely. I enjoy that feature. I use a Bic, a little one, to light the stove. Actually, the trick for lighting is to use your middle finger, because then you can be pretty far away from the stove when it goes. So that's it with most of these parts of it. Alright, so here's the spoon I like to use. Some features about it, pretty nice. It's got a flat front, makes for scraping the pot, makes that pretty easy to clean up. So I do all my dishes, I rinse and drink all my dishwater, so this is how I scrape. Also, it's got a slight bend, but not too much, so you can eat soup with it, but you can still eat other thicker things without it being strange. The end I use to open the bear cans, works fine. And this is made out of titanium. Some of them you'll see are made out of anodized aluminum, they're a little bit thicker. But you can use this to slice cheese. I don't bring a knife backpacking, so I use this spoon to slice cheese. Also, you can use the side to kind of scrape the pot like that. So this is a pretty useful design. So that's it for some of the cookware.